Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Chris Maloney for episode number 6 of CWN Weekly. Date today is Friday, September the 25th, 2020. Right now it's about 2 p.m. on Friday afternoon, and I'll get to the reasons about that momentarily here. But some sad news taking place on September the 23rd. Which just happens to be a special date for me. But Animal, as you saw in the opening there, had passed away at the age of 60 years old. That was on September the 23rd. It was announced. Apparently, he had passed away the night before, September the 22nd. News broke on the 23rd, and lots of thoughts and prayers coming out with regards to that. So I'll touch base just on that in a moment here. But we're doing the show right now live on Twitch. It'll be a YouTube premiere as well as on Facebook. StreamYard, the software piece I'm using to do the podcast here, basically is having a glitch right now with Facebook, so it's not notifying people. The other reason is as well is I've had the opportunity again to be part of the WWE ThunderDome. Now, in saying that, last week didn't work out too well. I'll get to that throughout the show. But so at 7 o'clock, I have to check in. So normally when the show would go live on air at 7 o'clock tonight, I will be checked into the Thunderdome at that point, so I'll not be able to do the show. So you will see a YouTube premiere happen at 7 p.m. As per normal on the Friday night shows that I do. It won't be live. We are live right now on Twitch. Still building a fan base on Twitch, but the thing about Twitch is the fact is I don't have the ability to upload. I'm not at that tier yet, so to speak. So that's why I'm doing the show live on Twitch, and then basically I will upload it to YouTube, and then you'll see a YouTube premiere tonight at 7 p.m., as well as you'll see the links provided on Facebook. So that is why I'm doing the show now. Like I said, 2 p.m. on, I might have said 2 p.m. before, but 7 p.m. tonight on YouTube. But anyways, that is that. With regards to the sad news, like I was talking about earlier, so this comes courtesy at WWE.com. So Road Warrior Animal passes away. Like I said, this was on September the 23rd. WWE is saddened to learn that Joe Laurinaitis, known to WWE fans as Road Warrior Animal, has passed away at the age of 60. One of the most intense superstars ever stepped foot in the squared circle. 6'2", 300-pound Animal spent most of his career alongside his tag team partner Hawk. Together they formed what was arguably the most successful, popular, and feared tandem of all time, the Road Warriors. With their intimidating face paint, outfits covered in metal spikes, an impressive array of power moves, the duo captured titles and destroyed opponents wherever they roamed. Their dominance made them so popular that the phrase Road Warrior Pop has been used in locker rooms to describe particularly deafening reactions from the crowd ever since. Joining forces with legendary manager Precious Paul Ellering, their team formed in Georgia Championship Wrestling in 1983. Before the decade was out, the Road Warriors had run roughshod over competition in both the National Wrestling Alliance and the American Wrestling Association, achieving the rare feat of claiming both organizations' tag teams titles. Road Warriors gained prominence as the top rivals of the Four Horsemen in NWA member territory. Jim Crockett Promotions, teaming with Dusty Rhodes and Nikita Koloff to face the Horsemen in the first War Games match on Independence Day in 1987. Road Warriors also thrived multiple stints with WWE, where they were known as the Legion of Doom. The team won the World Tag Team titles on 2 occasions, defeating the Nasty Boys in 1991 and the Godwins in 1997. After Hawk's passing in 2003, Animal captured the WWE Tag Team title for a third and final time in 2005, teaming with Heidenreich to defeat Eminem, a victory that Animal dedicated to his late partner. Road Warriors collective of Animal, Hawk, and Ellering were enshrined in the WWE Hall of Fame in 2011. Animal wasn't the only member of his family to earn fame in athletics. His brothers, John and Marcus, both enjoyed careers in the ring, competing as Johnny, Ace, and the Terminator, respectively, with John eventually becoming a WWE producer. Animal's son, James Laurinaitis, played for Ohio State, side note there, played 8 seasons in the NFL before retiring in 2017. WWE extends its condolences to the Laurinaitis family, friends, and fans. So, like I said, some unfortunate news to start off the show. It seems like almost every week somebody's passing away, but this hit huge. I think, and this is my personal aspect of things, I think I only got to see them one time in my life, and that was here in London, Ontario. I'm just going to bring up the card here, and I'm pretty sure the date is accurate because of what I can remember. But WWF was at London Gardens in London, Ontario, September the 8th, 1991 for matinee. I believe my sister went with with me for that one. So yeah, 1991, I would have been, what had I been? Sheesh, 14, 15 years old, I believe. Yeah, 15 years old. Started off with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat to Fitness Skinner. The Berserker was on the show. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Beverly Brothers, Ted DiBiase, Virgil, Bret Hart, the Warlord. And then the semi-main event was WWF Tag Team Champions, the Legion of Doom, defeating the Nasty Boys. And then Sid Justice substituting for the Ultimate Warrior to defeat the Undertaker in the main event. I still remember that like it was yesterday. That Road Warrior pop that they refer to is actually legitimate and it's real. And it's, I tell you this, so my memories as a kid is... the story goes, I became a wrestling fan. I was about 3 years old, about 1980, so to speak. And so there was a lot of memories I had as a youngster, so to speak. Andre the Giant getting his hair cut by Ken Patera and Big John Studd, that really stood out for me. Just seeing Andre the Giant in general was absolutely huge. But I also had uncles, my mom's brothers, who were wrestling fans, when I was a kid. And they had the magazines and stuff like that. So I'd go flipping through the magazines. And back in the day, we had down in the Maritimes, we had TSN. And this was like, way back, mid 80s, or so to speak. And for whatever reason, when the original music of the Road Warriors, to my, to me being a youngster, so to speak, had come out, it was I Am Iron Man, so the Ozzy Osbourne track. And the Road Warriors would come rushing down to the ring like these beasts, you know what I mean? Face paint and all black and just jacked up guys and everything else. They come down to the ring, that music playing in the background, ripping the guys apart in the ring. And then, that was who they were. That was their characters, so to speak. So as a kid, I'm watching this. I'm like, holy crap, these guys are absolutely amazing. You get the theme music that goes along with it. You got the fact that my uncles were into, the wrestling as well. And it's like, that was one of my earliest memories of the Road Warriors. And then back down in the Maritimes, like we were very selective with what we got as far as wrestling went. So Calgary Stampede Wrestling was a mainstay for me growing up as a kid, as well as Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling, and then WWF, Saturday Night's Main Event and stuff like that. I would catch Wrestling Challenge or WWF Superstars when the Detroit station would kick in every now and then, but I'd go months without be able to see it. This was back in the day. There was no internet, so it was you relied on magazines and Coliseum Home Video and this and that to be able to get through. But the Road Warriors, when you go through the magazines and this and that, and I wish I had gone through my PWI collection, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, because there's magazines in there I've got the Road Warriors in. And anyways, the fact is, what I'm trying to say is, you had the WWF, but then you had NWA, and when you had the NWA, it was people like Dusty Rhodes and the Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll Express and Sting and Lex Luger and the Four Horsemen. And then, of course, you had, Nikita Koloff and the Road Warriors. And all of those guys, all of those entities were just as big to me as a kid watching the WWF, getting to know this, getting to see these guys. It wasn't necessarily Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, and Macho Man Savage. It was a new breed, so to speak. That I got heavily involved in watching the NWA when I could as well, and especially because of the magazines as well, the aftermags as they called them. But thoughts and prayers are with Road Warrior Animal's family. I know he had, I think his birthday was on the 12th, I believe, of this month, and then his last post, I think he had posted on Twitter, was the 22nd, and I believe it might have been his anniversary. But not a lot more, to my knowledge, has come out. I mean, there's a lot of personal stories. Greg Oliver Slam Wrestling has released one. Bill Apter has given his thoughts as well. Touching tributes online on Twitter, social media, all the way from Hulk Hogan to Ric Flair. Road Warriors basically were the greatest tag team in the history of wrestling, as far as I'm concerned. When you look at their accomplishments and you look at everything they had done in such a short period, it's absolutely amazing. And when I say short period, I'm talking with regards to their NWA career. When they went WWF, it didn't play out the way it should have. It didn't play out the way the fans wanted it to. There's a lot of issues that had happened with the Road Warriors. I mean, several breakups, so to speak. Hawk with his personal issues, Animal with his back issues, but they eventually, LOD 2000 forms, and that was interesting to see. But Hawk passed away in 2003, and Animal has been on his own since then. Animal has done things to help promotions. In the meantime, so with regards to NWA, you saw him at the Crockett Cup. You saw him at one of the first ever AEW shows. I don't know if it was AEW All In or if it was the premier show that had the Meltzer bet to it. But and as far as what I've read as well the last couple of days, Animal, it being as scary as he was I guess a huge teddy bear when it come to just being outside of the ring. I think it was Angelina Love who had posted a photo of Joe Animal taking care of her kid. Angelina Love, formerly married to Davey Richards, and I guess Animal would come over and babysit, so to speak. And but he was just Uncle Joey, so to speak. So. And I'll leave it at this. So last thought was that house show that I attended in 1991. I'll never forget. So back in the days, you didn't have cell phones and everything else. So the show would end, and my stepdad, would come to pick up me and my sister at that one show, but we had to wait. So we go outside, and like I said, it's a matinee, so it's still nice outside, sunny day in September. And we go outside, and all of a sudden I see some of the crew leave. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And you're watching these guys, inside the ring, and then all of a sudden you see them outside, and they're just kind of normal people, big people, but normal people. So all of a sudden I'm watching, I think Steve Lombardi, was there, the Brooklyn Brawler. So I got to see, him outside of the building. Too shy as a kid, though, you're watching these guys, and like nowadays, I'm like, holy crap, could I get a selfie, autograph, just, hey, nice to meet you, sir, shake their hand. Jimmy Hart comes out. I'm like, holy crap, Jimmy Hart without the gimmick, so to speak. And then all of a sudden, Hawk and Animal and the Warlord come out all together. And I swear to God, I've never seen three more Jack guys in my life. Warlord, they're, and all of a sudden it kind of broke kayfabe for me, because the fact is, I'm like, wait a second, Warlord's a bad guy, Legion of Doom are good guys. What the heck's going on here, So anyways, but you realize that they're buddies, and the Warlord, was I think wearing a bandana, and Hawk and Animal were with him as well. And so to just see that small little brief interaction that lasted less than 2 minutes, to see these guys outside of the building and stuff. And to me as a kid, you're intimidated because of what you see on TV, and you hear about the reputation that these guys have, and all of a sudden you see them outside the ring, outside of the building, and it's just kind of like, I was like, holy crap, starstruck and shy, and kind of fearful all at the same time. But thoughts and prayers to Animal, thoughts and prayers to Hawk. Paul Ellering is the only one left of the Legion of Doom, so to speak. And sure, they're up there right now, doomsdaying, Ultimate Warrior, Ravishing Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect, all those guys they were associated with back in the day in the WWF. But thoughts and prayers with regards to Animals. You can check out CWNonline.ca. A lot of articles that I've found over the internet have been posted there. Some photos from the past, see what these guys used to look like back in the day, before the face paint, before the gimmick, so to speak. And it's sad. And it makes you understand as a wrestling fan that as we get older as fans, our basically our heroes get older as well. And it's enjoy them while you can. And if you want to relive history, go to the WWE Network and or YouTube, and get your fix on these guys again. But thoughts and prayers with Animal's family and the Laurinaitis family, of course. And I will leave it at that. Guys, birthday celebrations this week. I only found one, but he is an Ontario independent mainstay back in the day, and that is the one and only Darryl Sharma, otherwise known as Hornet, born in 1984. So that would make him, he's getting up there, 36, I believe. Yeah, I guess he'd be 36 years old. So yeah, happy early birthday to Hornet. His birthday's on September the 30th. Like I was saying, with regards to dates, so September the 23rd, Wednesday, so the day I founded the news Animal, was actually my 3rd wedding anniversary with my loving wife. Didn't really have a chance other than seeing all the tributes to Animal with regards to wrestling. So not a lot of recap information as far as shows go because I didn't watch any wrestling that night. We went out for sushi. I had kind of sushi hangover, after we went out. So I did catch up on just the articles online and stuff like that as far as what happened. But yeah, September 23rd was our anniversary with my wife Christine. So once again, happy anniversary, Christine. I know it was a couple days ago, but yeah, so I'm doing my due diligence, so to speak. From there, we're getting into some wrestling news. So Tessa Blanchard, image likeness used in WWE 2K Battlegrounds. That was on the 17th. So that was the last time I'd done the show when I got off the air. And all of a sudden, some of this news is starting to break. And you go and look, and it's basically Tessa Blanchard winning the Impact World Championship with her arms outstretched, her hair coming down the one side, and I think she's on her knees, and the belt's laying across in front of her there. And you go and look at this image in WWE 2K Battlegrounds, and it's a spitting image. It's obviously been cartooned. It's been cartoonish or whatever the term is. But the fact is, apparently the guy who took the original shot got a little bit upset, contacted 2K, and apparently there was a patch that had come out on the 18th or the 19th to eliminate Tessa Blanchard from that game. But I mean, I don't know if it was one of those things where all of a sudden the company had no frigging clue that she wasn't a WWE superstar, or the fact is they knew, and they just said, screw it, nobody's gonna, really say anything anyways. So but apparently the image has been removed, but you can check that out at CWNonline.ca as well. Yeah, like I said, 2K Battlegrounds last week. That was released on the 18th. Should be picking it up in the next couple days. There's a good reviews out there. A lot of YouTube footage about the game itself. Looks fun. Reminds me of WWE All-Stars on the Xbox 360. I'm an Xbox guy. So I'll be looking to pick that up sometime next week. From there, a report. This was a report that was actually removed, and I'll talk about this just momentarily here. Shoot strikes thrown during Thunder Rosa Ivelisse AEW match. That was reported by Wrestling Observer as well as Fightful. And when I say Wrestling Observer, F4W Online. The reason I bring this up is this. So when you watch the match, it was a good match. I enjoyed the match between Ivelisse and Thunder Rosa. Now, here you got two kind of almost MMA style fighters, you know what I mean? So there might be times where all of a sudden they're going to hit each other a little bit stiffer just to see what each other's about. Whatever the case is, though, the report was made by Fightful as well, like I said, as F4WOnline.com. If you're going to do an article, I say this as I'm not a journalist. I didn't go to school for journalism. I'm a podcaster just by hobby. It's not nothing I do to make money off of or any kind of business at all. But as a fan of wrestling websites in general, if you're going to post something, whether it be Fightful or whether it be F4WOnline.com, and you remove the article, why do you do stuff like that? You guys are supposed to be professionals. And I'm talking Sean Ross Sapp, who's the managing editor over at Fightful, as well as Brian Alvarez, who's been F4W for forever. You guys are journalists, okay? You guys are what it's about as far as the wrestling business goes. Why would you put out an article and then remove it without saying anything? Print a retraction. I've never written, so to speak, as far as journalism goes, but I know enough that if you post something that's inaccurate, just don't remove the article like it never happened. Sit there and print a retraction to state, hey, sorry, we posted this article with misinformation, yada, yada, yada. So anyways, slap on the hand to both of those websites for doing that. But it's the original article is still up on CWNonline.ca just for people to see. But the fact is, if you're going to do something like that, especially, like I said, Brian Alvarez led F4W and Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful, print a retraction. Don't just remove the article. That's a little bit petty and childish, if you ask me, and unprofessional. From there, we go to report Melina returning to the WWE. That was on the 18th as well. She was quick to go onto Facebook to say that, hey, the rumors aren't true. Basically talks about the BS internet reporting sites, had the dirt sheets, so to speak, talking about reporting news that was accurate. Now, they had said that she was supposed to debut within a week. We still haven't seen her debut. Doesn't mean that she won't tonight on SmackDown. Normally what happens is basically when somebody says, hey, it's not true, ends up being true as far as wrestling goes. But we'll have to wait and see. SmackDown used to be her mainstay as far as WWE goes, so I wouldn't be surprised to see her show up tonight. Also, wouldn't be surprised to see her show up on the pay-per-view this coming Sunday, at Clash of Champions. So we'll have to wait and see. But again, she says, yeah, she's not signed anything with anybody, so we'll have to wait and see where that goes. Buffalo Brothers invade All Elite Wrestling again. This was pretty cool. So AEW Dark, it was Daniel Garcia, Puff, as well as Kevin Blackwood on the show. I'll get into that just momentarily. Hardy, Styles, and Zayn look to end Intercontinental debate in triple threat ladder match that's coming up this coming Sunday. So Sami Zayn, from the looks of it, it's going to be a ladder match. I don't know if it's going to be one title or two. If you ask me, it should be like Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon, where you put the two belts up there. The winner has to grab both belts. They are basically the undisputed Intercontinental champions. So that's coming up this Sunday. New COVID-19 gathering restrictions expanded to all of Ontario. So I am in London, Ontario. I am a fan of Ontario Independent Wrestling. Fact is, this was released, I think, last Friday. London, the Middlesex London Health Unit had put a statement saying that they were asking for capacity to be shut down once again. Down to, I think it was 10 people indoors and 25 people outdoors for personal lives and everything else. And then sure enough, a statement comes out on, I think, Saturday of last week with regards to Global News, saying that the Premier has shut everything down as far as Ontario goes with regards to those capacities again. And when I say shut down, I just mean that you limit it to 10 people in your social bubble inside, or 25 people in your social bubble outside. So that was all across Ontario. What had happened is, whether or not it's going to affect some of the upcoming events as far as Ontario goes. And I'll get into that later on the show, but that was released, like I said, last Saturday. Turnbuckle Talk with Steven Spice and WWE Hall of Famer Kurt Angle. That is pretty cool. So Steven's wrestling journey, you can check that out on YouTube as well as CWNonline.ca. Anything I actually mention, I'll let you guys know in the news segment here. You can find all of these articles pretty much the way I'm actually describing them on CWNonline.ca. So if you go back and look and you go back, in between the show dates, so it would be basically the 17th through the 25th today. Anything I'm relating to now, you can go back and find the original articles from. So I'm just taking kind of the highlights of some of the stuff I posted this week. AEW announces the signing of Serena Deeb that took place on the 21st. Davey Boy Smith, Filthy Tom Lawler announced for Bloodsport, taking place October the 11th on Fight. That was on the 21st as well. Sitting ringside with Dave Penzer featuring Evil Uno. That was released on the 21st. Evil Uno is one of those guys, he's got the gift of the gab, but I know him from the SSBs, so the Super Smash Brothers here in Ontario. Obviously, you know him from the Dark Order. He is one of the best. He also has a Twitch channel as well. Twitch.tv/Evil Uno, I think, is what his handle is on Twitch, but you can definitely go search for that. Where are we at right here? Oh, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson talks facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. This was interesting because of the fact he had, if you go to his YouTube channel, he talks about his skit on Saturday Night Live, and I'd never actually seen it before. And I started laughing about it, and I was like, holy crap. I mean, this is a wrestling promo backstage segment that you could easily see back in the Attitude Era, but so he's kind of promo on Saturday Night Live, and he's doing his thing, and he's talking about this other guy, his opponent, coming up for this match, and the guy having herpes or this and that. So it was interesting to see because I'd never seen it before. But then ended the interview, he gets asked with regards to Roman Reigns and WrestleMania, and it's always been something that's been talked about and rumored. And obviously, he's come back. He fought Eric Rowan briefly at the last WrestleMania, I believe he was at. It was what was it? Him against Cena 2 years in a row. One of the times he had ripped, I guess, his ab muscles, so to speak, and he still finished the match. But anyways, Rock versus Roman, I think, honest to God, it's on his bucket list. And I mean, it's family. It's one of those things that'd be like Brett versus Owens, so to speak. But I think when I say that, I just mean it's one of those matches that a lot of wrestling fans want to see happen. And I think The Rock is one of those wrestling fans that wants to see it happen just on a personal level. Obviously it's family and he'd love to be in the ring with the guy. But the fact is, I think when it comes down to it, I think The Rock, bucket list wise, I think we're going to see Roman Reigns versus The Rock at WrestleMania. Whether or not it's going to be this year or next year, I don't know. if COVID ends up going away and WrestleMania takes place in, as it's supposed to, WrestleMania 37 is taking place in Los Angeles next year. That is the rumor. But there was another, well, no, that's not the rumor, that's officially been announced, but the rumor is they may go back to Tampa because of everything that happened this year. So either way, Rock's got big ties in Tampa, big ties in Los Angeles, so I can see this happening regardless of where WrestleMania 37 is taking place. So looking forward to that. Official Young set to defend world title versus Edwards at Victory Road. That is set for October the 3rd on Impact Plus. So this is kind of the prelude. So 3 weeks before Bound for Glory, but Eddie Edwards was complaining he didn't get his title shot. So Scott D'Amore said, hey, finally you get your title shot. Victory Road, October the 3rd against Eric Young. Squared Circle Pit number 65. Adam Edge Copeland talks his love of heavy metal and his classic feuds. Haven't seen that yet, but that was released on the 23rd. That is a podcast done by Metal Injection, I think, and there's a kind of a subcategory, so that is the Squared Circle Pit. But Edge apparently talks about his love for heavy metal music as well as his injury, updates the fans on how he's doing and everything else, timeline to come back. But yeah, check that out. That is on, like I said, cwnonline.ca as well. Jericho's 30th anniversary celebration coming up October the 7th. That was announced on AEW Dynamite this past week. So Jericho, 30 years in the business, and one of the coolest things that I've heard about this is apparently he's kept track of every single match he's ever done. So who he faced, the results, I think the attendance, hit and miss, and then I think the town that he was in, and he's getting ready to release a book through Alex Marvez, who's also part of AEW, just a side book that everybody can see all these different dates and this and that, so that is kind of cool. AEW Unrestricted this week, The Butcher and the Blade, that was released yesterday. Haven't listened to that, but that's on my list up there with the Edge interview as well. WWE released a statement on positive COVID-19 tests. This has been rumored, so CMLL has been hit as well. WWE NXT has been hit, which if you go back and look at some of the matches that had taken place on the show for NXT, you'll see that some of the matches kind of were off as far as who fought who. I know there was a match with Roderick Strong. He ended up not having, I think, Bobby Fish by his side. Adam Cole's been nowhere to be found. Chelsea Green recently has come out, and this was as of today, confirms positive COVID test, has recovered after the quarantine, so that was released today. It's also hit AEW, so Lance Archer has been hit. You wonder about Adam Cole, whether or not Britt Baker was part of that as well. Now, I don't know what's going on with Adam Cole. I don't know if he's one of the guys. Apparently, there's rules in the States, maybe North America, saying that you can't release the names of the people who have tested positive for COVID. But if you go and look at the shows and you look at who's not there and who is there, and basically who should be part of something. I mean, Kyle O'Reilly went this past Wednesday and basically fought solo Roderick Strong without Bobby Fish. And then Adam Cole has been off the radar for a while. Now, I don't know if he was in any backstage segments this past Wednesday. I don't think so. Like I said, I didn't see any wrestling on Wednesday. But yeah, COVID is hitting all over the board as far as CMLL, AEW, as well as NXT. So get healthy, guys. Serena Deeb off of UWN Primetime Live as COVID-19 precaution. So there's another one hitting. That's UWN. As well as AEW, because she's been signed by AEW at this point. This broke today as well. Deonna Purrazzo cancels GCW. The collective bookings wants to be available for Bound for Glory on the 24th. Basically, Purrazzo was part of this. The whole big blood sport thing with Josh Barnett. But because it's only, I think, be 13 days before the event, before Bound for Glory, she wants to make sure she's available, because if anything goes wrong, she's got to quarantine for 2 weeks, which means that crucial mark there is the 11th, the 10th, the 9th, So to be readily available for the 24th, and I think they'd probably have to show up, be tested probably on the Friday, I would say. So Purrazzo, like I said, pulled out of GCW Collective, so she will not be part of Bloodsport as of right now. Chelsea Green I talked about, and this is kind of big. WWE planning to start traveling after current deal with Amway Center expires. So Amway Center is booked through the month of October. So any SmackDown shows, any kind of Raw shows will be still taking place at the Amway Center throughout the month of October. They got a pay-per-view, I think, coming up at the end of the month, which was originally scheduled for November, but they ended up switching over to October instead, just to be part of, to get that in as far as the release goes. But that is huge news as far as that goes, because the fact is, if they start traveling again, where are they going to be traveling to? And if they're traveling, are they going to be allowing fans in? Is it going to be like big arenas? Like, are they going to go like to the United Center in Chicago, Staples Center in LA? Or is it going to be kind of, I'll put it this way here in Canada. So you get Toronto, you get Scotiabank Arena, okay? That holds about 19,000 people. But then here in London, Ontario, you've got an arena that holds about 8,000 to 9,000 people. So you start looking at the smaller arenas, you start looking at the bigger arenas, and then basically doing the tarps all the way around, much the way NHL has done for the playoffs, and maybe do 1/3 capacity. You know what I mean? It'll be interesting to see if it actually happens. It'll still a lot of time. They could still sign another lease with the Amway Center, ThunderDome, so to speak. But if they're looking to travel, knowing the mentality of Vince McMahon, they're going to do it. It's going to be one of those things where they're going to try it, and if COVID continuously goes down or levels out down in the States, and they have the ability to travel and have limited fans in attendance, I see it happening. I mean, New Japan's doing it. I was just watching G1 just as of last night, watching it in Deonna Arena, over there in I can't think of the name of the city right now, but fans are there, and they're social distance, and everybody's wearing a mask and everything else. And they don't do a lot of yelling and cheering as far as Japan goes. They do a lot of clapping. So, but it's great because you see the guys come out they haven't seen in a while, like the Will Ospreys, like the Juice Robinsons. But you see the fan support, the fans in attendance, but they're all being safe. So can the WWE do the same thing? I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. Raw highlights I'll go into quickly here. Retribution, the opening. That was kind of weird. The camera was shaky, and all of a sudden they come out. There's only the 5 of them. It's basically Mia Yim, Mercedes Martinez, Dijakovic, Shane Thorne, and then Dio Matt. I forget what the guy's name is. He was the commentator on Raw. But anyways, he I shouldn't say he, but they've all got new names now. The women, they haven't gotten names officially, I don't think, as of yet. They didn't wrestle. They were part of it, but they didn't actually wrestle. The guys end up wrestling at the end of the show. So the 3 guys are T-Bar, Mace, and Slapjack are the new names. Slapjack is the new name of Shane Thorne. I know that. I believe Mace is Donovan Dijakovic. That's a hard name to pronounce. And then T-Bar would be Dio. But I might get those two confused. But anyways, that Retribution was starting and ending as far as Raw goes. Andrade and Garza win the triple threat to go on to the Tag Team Championship match for Raw this coming Sunday. Apparently a shark ate Tozawa. R-Truth was at the beach with his belt. Tozawa comes up in ninja costume. Next thing you know, you see the ninja costume come back to the shore. Truth picks up his belt, but no Tozawa. So apparently it looks like Tozawa got eaten by a shark. So we'll have to wait and see where that goes. What else we got? Rollins Mysterio's promo. I can't wait for this to be over. I mean, I know they're going in a new direction. They're not using the stairs anymore, but still, I can't wait for this stupid thing to be over. Strowman defeats Dabba-Kato in the Underground. That was surprising. Dabba-Kato is going to be a huge success if he can stay healthy. Guy is a giant. Strowman kind of looks small compared to him. And there was another thing I should mention as well. So Aleister Black laid waste to Kevin Owens. So Kevin Owens had Shane McMahon on the KO show. Obviously, a lot of hate between the two guys. So Dabba-Kato comes out, Braun Strowman comes out. They're in the midst of feuding in the ring there with Shane McMahon, trying to keep them apart. And then Kevin Owens is in the corner, gets pulled down onto his face. Basically, you've got the turnbuckle, so to speak. Aleister Black anyway comes up around, pulls Kevin Owens 3 times. And Kevin Owens is laid to waste by Aleister Black, so that feud's going to continue there. Her Business Retribution, like I said, that was the main event that went to a no contest. AEW Dark highlights: Butcher and the Blade defeats Puff and Calvin Stewart. It was nice to see Puff because I've seen him live, on Ontario Independent Wrestling, and he got to perform some of the moves that he does here, so that was kind of cool. He's also in the ring with Butcher and Blade, so I mean, Butcher is Blade is the guy who ended up training him down there with Grapplers Anonymous, so it was kind of cool to see Puff actually in the ring, and Puff being Puff, which was great. And then Janela and Sonny Kiss defeats Daniel Garcia Garcia and Kevin Blackwood. So the cool thing about this is you saw more of a glimpse of Daniel Garcia and Kevin Blackwood as wrestlers. They weren't just kind of throwaway boys getting the exposure. They actually got some offense in here. Janela and Sonny Kiss obviously went over in the match, but the fact is the boys, the Buffalo Brothers, got some offense in, which was kind of cool as well. So not sure if they were on Dynamite this past Wednesday. I don't think they were. So it'll be interesting to see if they have any more AEW dates coming up. But again, definitely awesome national television exposure for the three guys, Puff, as well as Daniel Garcia and Kevin Blackwood, Buffalo Brothers, hashtag. And congrats, guys. And I love the fact that I get to watch you guys on TV and YouTube. So it's absolutely amazing. Impact highlights: Trade defeats TJP and Chris Bay. So he's got a X Division Championship match coming up. If you want to watch something as far as Impact Wrestling goes this week, and the only thing you're going to watch is one segment, watch the Heath promo. So it's Heath basically saying, hire me, Impact Wrestling, okay? He's got Rhino. He makes a line too. He's like, hey, there's a Rhino in the wild. And all of a sudden, camera zooms over to Rhino, which was kind of comical. But then it got even more funny because D'Lo Brown gets in on the promo for Heath Slater, formerly Slater, to get hired by Impact Wrestling. And then next thing you know, he does cameos. And in the cameos, he's got David Hasselhoff, Flavor Flav, Nancy Kerrigan, no Tanya Harding, but just Nancy Kerrigan, and then Chuck Norris of all friggin' people to do cameo drops for him. So it was funny. Like I said, D'Lo got involved in that one as well. His kids, his actual two daughters, were like, hey, Scott D'Amore, what's going on? How come you won't hire this guy? He had talked at one point about getting his truck repossessed, and D'Lo Brown all of a sudden gets upset and says, Scott D'Amore, how can you be doing this to this guy? So it was actually a pretty cool promo. It was about 4.5-5 minutes in total. But yeah, you can check it out on the Impact results on impactwrestling.com, or you can find it online on Twitter for Heath's Twitter handle there. Yeah, and then like I said, Eric Young, Scott D'Amore, Eddie Edwards. There was a promo there that set up the match for the pay-per-view that's coming up next Saturday. And then Tennille Dashwood defeats Jordan Grace in the main event. So ROH highlights. I've been watching this religiously, so I've watched it back-to-back weeks, but I'm loving it because the fact is, so our ROH right now is doing a pure title tournament. Fact is, they've got guys in A block and B block. They've done 4 matches so far. Winner's going to become the Pure Wrestling Champion. It's different because the fact is there's no rope breaks past 3. I mean, if you hit the ropes 3 times and you go for the 4th, you can still be pinned, you can still be submitted. But yeah, the promos before the matches are absolutely amazing because it not only reminds you of what Ring of Honor is all about, but it also speaks volumes in the fact that you get to know these guys. You get to know where they came from. Like David Finlay did a promo. He talks about being 4th generation wrestler, but he also talks about, being trained by New Japan Pro Wrestling and how hard it is over there, and having to do, I think, 1,000 squats in his first day. And, he couldn't talk Japanese, so he had no idea, as far as timing and the counts and everything else goes. So he talks about that sort of stuff there. Rocky Romero, the promo that he had done, Delirious, Matt Seidel. It gives you, like I said, it's a different aspect. It's like getting excited over Saturday Night's Main Event back in the day, but as opposed to seeing that 30-second clip or promo of Hulk Hogan shaking the cage with the title belt while he's eating his headband, you hear about why Hulk Hogan's mad at somebody. You hear about how Hulk Hogan got to be Hulk Hogan. You know what I mean? So it's like Rocky Romero. I guess it hypes up the match even more, is what I'm trying to say. And it's pretty cool that they're doing it. I hope they continue doing it past the Pure Tournament here. But long story short, David Finlay defeats Rocky Romero to move on, and then Matt Seidel defeats Delirious to move on. And the one thing you find about Matt Seidel and Delirious, apparently they were, I think this was, I want to say 13, 14 years. It might even be further than that. But apparently Matt Seidel and Delirious were each other's first opponents in Ring of Honor. So that was kind of cool to hear. UWN Primetime Live Episode 2 took place. Thunder Rosa defeats Priscilla Kelly to retain the title. Late Night Dynamite took place as well. Jericho was on commentary. Anna Jay defeated Brandy, which was surprising, made her pass out. And then Sean Spears defeats Matt Seidel as well. So Matt Seidel's getting his airtime here this week as far as wrestling goes. NXT highlights: Candice LeRae defeats Shotzi Blackheart. in the final two to win the Battle Royal to face Io Shirai at TakeOver coming up this Sunday. Damian Priest defeats Austin Theory and then gets attacked by Johnny Gargano. Kyle O'Reilly defeats Cameron Grimes in the final two to face Finn Balor TakeOver. And then there's a mysterious warning vid talking about a guy who's making a comeback down to NXT, where he left his legacy there, and now all of a sudden he's coming back to pick it back up. And you see this promo, and it's available on YouTube. And all of a sudden you see this guy, and it's like night vision cameras, and the glass case, and there's a belt inside the glass case. Excuse me. And he goes and he whips, looks like almost like a bar or a baseball bat at the glass case. Case shatters, he picks up the belt, and that's all we see. So names being dropped was like a Samoa Joe. Maybe it's him that's going to show up at TakeOver, and TakeOver's taking place, I think, on October the 4th. Or the names that really, to me, would make the most sense, considering the fact of where the careers are right now in WB. Number one would be Bo Dallas. Bring Bo Dallas back to NXT. He was one of their first NXT champions. He was also a great champion while he was down there. Or Bobby Roode. So not Robert Roode, but Bobby Roode. Bring him back to NXT because he made it something as well. And when you watch with Finn Balor and what he's doing for that brand, it makes a lot of sense to bring back a guy like Bobby Roode or to bring back a guy like Bo Dallas, to add to the mix, so to speak. And then next thing you know, you've got, Tommaso Ciampa, who's eventually going to get back into the mix. Maybe Johnny Gargano, maybe Adam Cole, maybe Kyle O'Reilly takes the title, and then Karrion Kross, of course, when he's ready to come back. So it's heating up down there in NXT, and I like I said, I think Bo Dallas or Bobby Roode would be the top two picks as far as who's coming back to NXT on the 4th. What else we got here? So AEW highlights: Miro made his debut in a match with Kip Sabian, defeating Janela and Kiss. Apparently he had a minor injury. Still haven't seen that yet. Adam Page defeats Evil Uno. Omega was on commentary, so obviously they're setting up for a feud between Omega and Adam Page eventually. Whether or not it's going to happen this year or next year, I don't know. But it is great to see Omega still coming out on commentary, which means they're setting up to eventually have these two feud down the road. From there, we got Brody Lee defeating Orange Cassidy. Big thing about this was the post-match. And the post-match, Cody ends up making his comeback and making his return. So black-haired Cody. And then it leads to a promo in the back. And then basically there's a dog collar match that's being set up. I don't think there was a date announced for it yet. But we have black-haired Cody coming back. And, he's going to be feuding with probably the entire Dark Order at this point. Shida and Rose defeats Ivelisse and Diamante. And then Jon Moxley defeats Eddie Kingston in the main event. UK highlights, so NXT UK, Walter defeats Saxon Huxley. Walter's just a beast. I mean, the guy, I've seen him live in real life, and, you don't necessarily appreciate what you see on TV until you see the guy in real life and you see some of the stuff that he can do. The guy is just a monster. He's a beast. He's an old school wrestler. And I hope they keep that NXT UK championship on him for a while. Heritage Cup drawing. So Pete Dunne was officiating that. Noam Dar, decides to be a bit of an ass, and basically Pete Dunne makes him pay for it, to the point that he ends up tossing him out of the ring. I think there's a match being set up, I think next week from what I heard, but also taking place next week is the first couple matches for the Heritage Cup. So that'll start next week. And of all the picks, they've got, what do we got? Flash Morgan Webster, Noam Dar, Alexander Wolf, A-Kid, Dave Mastiff, Trent Seven, who was actually number 7 in the drawing, by the way, Joseph Connors, and there's a wild card entrant as well. I'd love to see Tyler Bate. I wouldn't be surprised as well to see Pete Dunne be that wild card, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. It depends on how many matches they're doing per show. If they're doing 2 matches per show, we're looking at probably, it looks like probably about a month before we find out who the wild card is, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm not sure how many matches they're doing for the Heritage Cup next week, but only a couple of days and we'll be able to find that out. And then, I guess that's it for highlights. Our ratings quickly, 1.688, so 1,688,000 for Raw this week, down 1.25%, 0.5 rating in the 18 to 49 demo that placed them 5th for the night. AEW was 835, down 6%, 0.32 rating in the 18 to 49 demo, finishing 9th for the night. And then NXT 696, up 1%, 0.18 rating in the 18 to 49 demo, finishing 38th for the night. So yeah, those are the ratings there. So still about 1.5 million people tuning in for AEW versus NXT. SmackDown preview. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I will be in the ThunderDome tonight, so looking forward to that. Seeing, so I'll get to this. So last week I signed in. I was set for the ThunderDome as well. I have my backdrop set up, much the same here. I had a championship belt hanging from like pretty much right behind me. I had lighting going on, cozy setup. TV was on mute, and so I'm signed into it. And my buddy Sean, who the Scumbags of Wrestling, says, hey, if you get kicked out for whatever reason, just try to sign back in. So sure enough, I get in and I get kicked out probably about 10 seconds later. It's like, okay, what the heck? So I go and use the link, and the problem is that the link that they send says hit this once. If you use it more than once, it's not going to work. That's complete BS because I was able to get in twice, 3 times, I think. So I don't know what it was, if it was bad bandwidth. I don't know if because I was thumbs downing Ariya Daivari when he came out. I lasted about maybe 10 to 15 minutes after 205 Live had started. And I didn't realize they taped 205 Live before the actual, before SmackDown itself. So next thing I know, it's like, hey, thank you for viewing, blah, 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 blah. Go to try to sign back in. And it's like, sorry, we're full. Sorry, we're full. Sorry, we're full. And I'm like, what the heck? So I'm going to try something different this time. You're not going to see a backdrop. Well, you're not going to see it anyways, but I'm not going to have a backdrop. I'm going to be sitting on my in my living room on my couch. I'm going to have, when I do this right here, it's all Wi-Fi. So the router's not far away. But the fact is, when I was doing it last week, I don't know if it was a bad connection and the router was acting up. So I'm going to actually have a hardwired Ethernet cable plugged into the laptop, plugged into the router itself. So there will be no bandwidth connections. I'll see how long I last this time. I know Sean had said, I think he lasted almost an hour and a half when he was watching Raw, probably about a month and a half ago. And I lasted 10 minutes in the ThunderDome. That was all I wanted to do was see myself on TV. And I wasn't even able to do that. So I'll change things up tonight. But if it doesn't work out tonight, that's it. I'm done with the ThunderDome. But it sounds like the ThunderDome might be done in a month anyway. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'll let you guys know. Probably coming up on the predictions show coming up on Sunday for Clash of Champions. I'll talk about it as well next week on CWN Weekly episode number 6. Nope, 7. We are on episode number 6 right now. So SmackDown preview tonight, besides me being on the ThunderDome, hopefully. Reigns interview, Hardy versus Zayn, and then Bliss versus Lacey Evans. 205 preview, as of when I checked, nothing was listed. New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong preview, Lions Break Crown round 1. Main event features Adrian Quest versus Blake Christian. Not too aware of either one of those guys, but I'll check that out and I'll just throw some highlights up next week when I do this show. And then MLW Underground preview. Obviously, they're doing recaps shows from way back in the day, and I'm talking like 15 years ago. World Heavyweight title match. Satoshi Kojima, who's now part of New Japan Pro Wrestling, as champion for MLW, taking on the one and only Mike Awesome. So rest in peace, Mike Awesome, from back in the day. So that's MLW Underground tomorrow. Rest of the pay-per-view schedule. So UFC 253 taking place tomorrow night. Adesanya versus Costa. That's 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on UFC Fight Pass or pay-per-view. And then Clash of Champions 2020 Orlando, Florida, 7 p.m. on Sunday on the WWE Network. I'm not going to talk about anything more as far as Clash of Champions go because I will do a prediction show this coming Sunday. That'll be live at 3 p.m. On YouTube, Facebook, as well as Twitch. So you'll be able to check that out. And as you can, if you go on YouTube, you'll be able to see some of my past prediction show. But yeah, like I said, that's this coming Sunday, 3 p.m. On YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch for the Clash of Champions prediction show. Wow, I'm going long. Let me see. So from there, I will briefly touch base on mixed martial arts. Then I'm going to jump into New Japan. Then I'm going to jump into Canadian Independent Wrestling. So this coming Saturday, as I had mentioned, UFC 253 taking place. Adesanya versus Costa. That's the last stylebender. Israel Adesanya defends the UFC middleweight championship against the Eraser Paulo Costa. That's taking place UFC Fight Island Saturday, September the 26th, 10 p.m. pay-per-view. Prelims at 8 p.m. Early prelims at 7 p.m. They usually happen on TSN 5. I haven't checked the schedule yet. If it's not TSN 5, it's usually TSN 2. But that'll be the prelims and the early prelims that you can watch for free on TSN here in Canada. And like I said, the main show will take place 10 p.m. on pay-per-view as well as UFC Fight Pass tomorrow night. And from there, one Reign of Destinies happened earlier this morning. If you're a fan of mixed martial arts, you want to see some of the stuff happen in Asia. I believe this one happened, it was Shanghai, China. So that took place earlier today. So look up One Championship on YouTube, and usually they will stream their shows live and for free. And like I said, the shows themselves in their entirety will be up there on the YouTube channel, so you'll be able to check that out. The one this morning was called One Reign of Dynasties, and I believe they're doing a weekly series, so it'll be One Reign of Dynasties number 2 next week, and then number 3 the following week. So check that out. And then UFC Vegas 11, Covington versus Woodley fight results are up on CWNonline.ca, and Covington ended up beating Woodley in that one. So, New Japan Pro Wrestling. I think I might do this. I think I might bring up the website for this because it's pretty straightforward. It's also very easy to understand here. So, I'm just going to share the screen here. Just make sure it's up properly. So, I'm going to get rid of the banners momentarily here. And I'm not sure why. Yeah, let's do this. Technical difficulties there, everybody. I still see the backdrop for Animal there. Okay, that's a little bit better there. So, anyways, there is the website there, and maybe I'll even do this. Yeah, it's a little bit better there. So, there's CWN website right there. So, CWNonline.ca. If you go to it, on the very top here, you see Indie Pro MMA TV online pay-per-view, exclusive about merchandise, Patreon, We Are CIW, and then G130. You click on that there, and basically it's an easy how-to as far as G1 Climax 30 is going. So there are your standings there. So A block standings right now: Kota Ibushi, 1 win, 1 loss, 2 points. Jeff Cobb, 2 points. Okada, 2 points. Tomohiro Ishii, 0 points, so no wins so far. Will Ospreay has got 4 points. Shingo Takagi, no points at all. Suzuki, 2 points. Taichi, 4 points. Jay White, 4 points. And Yujiro Takahashi has 0 as well. So that's standings for the A block there. And you can see all the guys on the left-hand side here. The B block right here. So standings, Tanahashi. So Hiroshi Tanahashi, 0 points, which is unique, I will say. Juice Robinson has 4 points, which is also unique, so to speak. So Hiroki Goto, 2 points. Toru Yano, 4 points, which is unique. Yoshihashi, 0. No, excuse me. Tetsuya Naito, the current IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Champions, got 4 points. Sonata's got 0. Zack Sabre Jr.'s got 2. Kenta's got 2. Evil's got 2. So those are your current standings right now. Matches I've watched so far, I have watched, what did I watch last night? I watched, I think, 2 last night. So I ended up watching Tanahashi taking on Naito. So that was an amazing match. Naito, I mean, they say these two guys are hurting, but you can't tell in the ring. I mean, you've got Tanahashi with the high fly flow, and obviously, Naito doing the Destinos and everything else. But and high fly flow, when I say that, I think Tanahashi had performed it 3 times in this match, and 2 of them were with the guys, were Naito standing up. So anyways, but yeah, Tanahashi lost against Naito in the match that I saw. The other match I saw last night was, I think it would be night 3 of the G1 Climax, and that would have been Tomohiro Ishii against Will Ospreay. I absolutely love Will Ospreay. He's one of my favorites. I'd probably say top 3. But a lot of highlight matches. I know Okada, I think, in the first round. Yeah, here we go, right here. So guys' schedule, you can see, I'll jump to it in a sec, but guys' schedule right here, so you can see the schedule. You can click on this, you can click on this. It'll take you exactly right to the matches there. The top, if you're looking through this, the very top here, you can see that is the main event of the night. So in this case, it's Okada versus Jay White. Next match here, that's going to be Hiroki Goto taking on Naito. Next match here, Ishii taking on Shingo Takagi, and so forth. But when you get down to it here, here's your results. So you click on this, you click on this, you get your results here. So Okada, I think, I gotta check this out. So I'm gonna go click on the link as I just showed you guys. Yeah, a lot of New Japan. Oh yeah, it's Kota Ibushi. So Ibushi ends up beating Okada in the first night there. So, but guys, that is basically New Japan right there, G1 Climax as a whole. So like I said, when you're looking at this, you've got the current point standing, and I keep this up to date. You've got the schedule that's going to take place. So we've had 4 events so far, so 15 left, all the way down to the finals, which takes place Sunday, October the 18th, night 19. That's in Sumo Hall in Tokyo, Japan. That's 2 a.m. Eastern for us. So if you're up on Saturday night, just don't go to bed. Just watch the event. It'll be about 3.5 hours. You go to bed about 6 a.m. Results are here, and then any of the articles I've seen as far as New Japan G1 Climax goes, you can see here. Most of them are officially from the New Japan website, but there are other ones as well, including YouTube videos and stuff like that. So I'm trying to bring myself back. Yep, there I am, and I'll bring back the banners as well. No, actually, you know what? I'm not going to bring back the banners. I'm going to do this because I need to get a drink of water. So I'm going to play promo clips from my my buddies there, Sean Bates of the Scumbags of Wrestling and Mr. Ryan Knight of Knights of the Squared Circle. I'm going to play their promo vids, get a drink of water, and I'll be back just momentarily here. So hang tight, guys. I'll be right back.
Hey, wrestling fans. It's Sean from Scumbags Wrestling. September is Carry Malformation Awareness Month, and we've teamed up with Steven's Wrestling Journey to present this great t-shirt. Proceeds from it are going to help Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto as they do research for carry malformation. You can get the shirt for $30 or a poster for $15. However, I'm going to do something better. For the month of September, if you get your t-shirt during this month, I'll reduce it by $5. So you get the shirt for $25 or the poster for $10. Contact me through the Scumbags Wrestling Facebook page or email me at scumbagswrestling@gmail.com. Get an amazing t-shirt and help a great cause at the same time.
Are you a pro wrestling fan? Do you want the latest info on shows and the stars that appear throughout Ontario? Are you looking for information and insight into the independent wrestling scene? Want interviews and information on the big leagues? Then you want Knights of the Squared Circle with Ryan Knight on Coyote 103. Ryan has his finger on the pulse of wrestling in Ontario on every level, and he brings that to you every Sunday at noon. Listen for your wrestling fix with Ryan Knight and Knights of the Squared Circle, Sunday at noon, only on Coyote 103.
There you go, guys. Some promos from Sean Bates of the Scumbags of Wrestling. Good cause for the Carry Malformation Stevens Wrestling Journey, which I'll go more into detail in a couple minutes here, as well as Ryan Knights of Knights of the Squared Circle. Coincidence, we all got married the same month. So Ryan Knight just recently got married. Sean Bates got married 2013. So his anniversary is coming up, I think, 27th or 28th. So happy seventh wedding anniversary to him and his lovely wife. That's coming up, like I said, in a couple of days. 7 years. It's a long time. Ryan Knight's going on his first month, so congratulations to him as well. And I've celebrated 3 years myself. That was on Wednesday. So yeah, good time to get married. It's the month of September. So hashtag right there, hashtag we are CIW, facebook.com/groups/Canadian Independent Wrestling is the best way to find the group. You can also hit CanadianIndependentWrestling.ca. That will forward you to the group. I may eventually end up doing something with the website itself, but for right now, it just forwards to the group. 350 or 60 members, I think we have, and counting right now. Want to try to get up to that 400 mark before the end of the year. Big thing about the group, just be respectful, but the fact is you want to promote your shows, promote your brand, your promotion, your gimmick, so to speak, your podcast, interviews that you've done, stuff with regards to even animal passing away and this and that. But it's just a respectful group, and you get to see everything that's happening in the Canadian independent wrestling scene, all the way from British Columbia to Alberta. Shout out to Mike Maloney out there in Alberta. Quebec, obviously, FLQ Wrestling, Ontario, of course, the Maritimes. So you get to see everything that's happening across Canada. So guys, if you want to check it out, facebook.com/groups/Canadian Independent Wrestling. Sign up is free. Just have to basically approve you. It is a private group, but again, facebook.com/groups/Canadian Independent Wrestling. So check that out. So I always start this off with shows. pretty pretty much the same as the past couple of weeks. But RCW Friday Night Fights, September 25th, October 2nd, October 9th, Calgary, Alberta, taking place. RCW Saturday Night Fights, October 3rd, October 10th, October 17th, Edmonton, Alberta, taking place. This one I'm not sure about, and I have to get clarification on it, but Alpha One Wrestling's Ruckus, taking place Sunday, October 18th, 2 p.m. in Oshawa, Ontario. So, with everything that happened with regards to the announcement that was made by Doug Ford last Saturday, no more than 25 people outside, no more than 10 people inside, I was thinking to myself, okay, is this show going to happen? And then somebody had mentioned on the Alpha One Wrestling board with the same thing I just said. So with regards to everything that just had taken place, whether or not the show could still happen, the response, and I'm not sure who it was by, but there's 100 tickets at hand, and the response was that doesn't apply to events held in banquet halls and other private establishments. So I don't know how what is accurate at this point. They're not going to. So Alpha One Wrestling, heavy ties to Ethan Page, I believe he's owner of Alpha One Wrestling, isn't going to do anything to basically upset the Ontario government, so to speak. $10,000 fine, that's absolutely huge. So I mean, they're going to play it, I guess, by ear. If anything changes, they will do everything from a day-to-day basis, a week-to-week basis, so to speak. But they're not going to go and put it on a show. It could potentially be shut down. It could potentially be fined. So I've got to think that will stand up. Anything that happens in banquet halls and private establishments falls under a different jurisdiction, a different set of rules, so to speak. So it'll be interesting. But it makes me wonder, though, if that is the case, why aren't there more Ontario independent wrestling shows happening? If all you got to do, I'm not trying to downplay this, but if you all you have to do is rent a banquet hall or some kind of private building and have a show, what is stopping Ontario independent wrestling promotions from doing this? So guys, if you want, hit me back, feedback at cwnonline.ca, and let me know. If you're a promoter or a fan, or any insight on the matter itself. But it's I'm missing wrestling here in Ontario. I'm rocking the Midwestern Wrestling shirt right now. It's been a long time since I've been to a show, obviously, but I'm enjoying what's on TV, enjoying the YouTube clips. No Ring North has been great. Backyard Pro has been great as well, and then seeing the highlights that companies from across Canada have been putting out there on YouTube as well, which is great. In saying that, if I'm missing any shows, and I know it's only 3 different promotions I'm talking about right now, but if I'm missing anything, and this is what I do, I go through Facebook, I see what's out there, see what's legitimate, and then basically I'll talk about it in the show. But if I'm missing something, upcoming at CWNonline.ca is the best way to get in touch with me as far as shows go. So upcoming at CWNonline.ca, and let me know what I'm missing. Let me know what shows you got coming up, and that's good. That goes all across Canada. So not just Ontario where I'm based, but all across Canada. Behind the Gimmick Table, a glimpse into Kingdom James Kingdom. That was released on the 20th of September on Slam Wrestling. Like I said, this stuff you can check out cwnonline.ca and find that actual article to find the link for Slam Wrestling. That's all about Anthony Kingdom James, Uncle Phil, so to speak. Love the guy. One of the most creative guys I've seen as far as Ontario independent wrestling goes. Has his own promotion in Union Wrestling. Heroes of Homeroom C is the comic book that he's done. Actually had the honor of competing against him in Wrestling Trivia Challenge last summer in Toronto. Sean Bates and then a couple other guys were there as well. So that was kind of fun. But one of the most gifted guys I think I've seen in Ontario, especially on the mic. And and the guy can wrestle as well. Just a great mind as far as wrestling goes. And I love to see him make it big, whether it be comic books or his podcast or the wrestling business goes. But one of the most underrated guys I think as well, and one of the nicest guys as well. So congrats to Kingdom for everything that he's done and he's doing. And then last little bit, Pro Wrestling returns to Reserve Mines, Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, November the 14th. That's East Coast Pro Wrestling, so ECPW. That was released on the 21st. And guys, if you have any YouTube vids or podcasts that you're doing here in Canada, let me know. Feedback at cwnonline.ca. I'll just do this. So there's the email address right there. feedback at cwnonline.ca. Let me know what's out there on YouTube that you're doing on a regular basis. Let me know what is out there on as far as your podcast goes on a regular basis. I will put them on the website. So if you go to the actual CWNonline.ca website, basically it's all sectioned out into, it's all filtered out into different sections. So you've got basically pro wrestling, Canadian independent wrestling, mixed martial arts. There's a spot for all the CWN stuff I do. There's a spot for gaming now. But the Canadian independent wrestling section, you'll see like stuff from like ECCW, some of the matches that they promote on YouTube from back in the day. You'll see Bordertown Pro Wrestling. They do a show every Thursday night. You'll see the Scumbags of Wrestling on there. You'll see George Mackay's podcast that he does and some of the interviews he does. You'll see Big Ben, from Crossbody Pro Wrestling. His stuff is on there as well. The links to all of this stuff is on there. And that's what CWN's all about. It's basically taking everything from the wrestling universe as a whole, so to speak, adding that Canadian element to it, and then basically letting you guys know what's out there and letting you guys know, what I think is interesting. So, if I find it interesting or I find it's got Canadian base to it, or results or upcoming events or whatever the case may be, you'll find it on CWNonline.ca. I try to do original content. Most of it is doing what's known as an aggregator, so to speak. It's basically taking the content from the rest of the internet and feeding it into one website to make it relevant, to make it unique. But like I said, feedback at cwnonline.ca. Let me know what I'm missing and what I can add to the website to make it to better. We are getting hits from all over the world. It's pretty close as far as Canada and the U.S. goes. Last time I checked, I think Canada was maybe 5% more than the U.S. hits that we're getting. Excuse me. But we've got hits from India all the way through to, I think Norway was on that list last time I checked. And it keeps regenerating. So like every week I'll check and there'll be new countries on the list, so to speak. But yeah, last I checked, the US I was getting more hits from the US almost than I was in Canada. But like I said, guys, feedback at cwnonline.ca with regards to what else I could add to the website. And if it's your content, let me know. From there, like I said, I was going to talk about this as well. So Steven's wrestling journey. So get rid of this, pop this up. So hashtag Steven's wrestling journey. He is a kid who's been dealing with Chiari malformation for, I believe, almost all his entire life. He's a good kid. I've got to see him at the Impact tapings that we went to in Toronto a couple years back. He pinned Tyson Dukes in the ring. At the very end of this show, you'll see the photo, so to speak, of him coming out. It was one of the guys from ROH, so I'm forgetting his name. Joe Hendry, I think, had come out with him, and he fought Tyson Dukes in the match. And then, like I said, Steven had pinned Tyson at the very end. But he's been dealing with this for a while. And Steven's wrestling journey is hashtag Steven's wrestling journey. You can find that on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. That promo that you saw right when I went to commercial from Sean, all of the t-shirt proceeds that he's got going on goes to Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto on behalf of Steven's wrestling journey, as well as the posters that he's selling. Now, Sean normally sells the t-shirts at $30 and the posters at $15. Right now, he's doing them $25 and I believe $10. And all of the proceeds, like I said, doesn't matter if it's this month or last month or next month. All of these proceeds go to Steven's wrestling journey. Steven was the one I was talking about earlier too. He interviewed Kurt Angle. There's a clip right now on the CWN CWN YouTube page of Steven doing a promo for Sean's t-shirt. But like I said, everything that Sean's doing right now for his t-shirt as well as the poster, all the proceeds on behalf of Steven's wrestling journey goes to Sick Kids in Toronto. So definitely check that out. It's for a great cause. I'll do this first. So next couple episodes of CWN predicts WWE Clash of Champions 2020. That'll be live on Sunday, 3 p.m. YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. CWN recap. WWE Clash of Champions 2020, of course. That'll be Sunday about 10 o'clock at night, so Eastern Standard Time. When I say about 10 o'clock, it means whenever they go off the air. It's usually about 15-20 minutes. I'll have everything set up, and I'll recap the show. Might have a guest, might not. But I'll do the recap show this coming Sunday as well. That'll be live Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube after Clash of Champions has ended. CWN Weekly episode number 7 take place on October the 2nd. That'll be my sister's birthday, which she will be 32, I think. Man, she's getting old. But that'll be my sister's birthday there. So episode number 7, October the 2nd, 7 p.m. live on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. And so that's what's coming up. Website for us, cwnonline.ca, feedback at cwnonline.ca, as well as Chris at cwnonline.ca is the best way to get in touch with me. So I was going to say this before, but I'm gonna leave it to right now. So big plans in the works for us. And when I say us, I mean CWN. So I'll brief history here. January 18th, 2009, the first incarnation of CWN came to life, so to speak. It was through a website, not a website, but a web hosting company called Freehostia. Excuse me, which was free, by the way, if you can't tell by the name. But Freehostia had helped me launch the very first CWN website. I tried to go back and find some images of it, but I can't. It's long gone, so to speak. But that was January 18th, 2009. So it was myself, Sean Bates of the Scumbags of Wrestling, as well as this guy named Ed Simon, who I don't think follows the wrestling business anymore. But it was the three of us, and we're doing much the same as I'm doing right now, recaps and promoting independent wrestling. And I think Sean and Ed were doing stories and stuff, so blog style stuff. And then all of a sudden we do like predictions and stuff like that. It wasn't like live like this. It was just like, hey, here's Sean's thoughts, my thoughts, and Ed's thoughts, so to speak. So 2009, it's a long time. Now it's been different websites, so to speak, for CWN. So I went from Freehostia to Wix to Weebly now to WordPress. And WordPress, I'm loving because it's very interactive. It gives me the ability to do a lot of stuff, add a lot of elements to the website itself. I took a brief kind of hiatus, so to speak, from CWN at one point to focus on this other website called The Sharpshooter, which we also had the Sharpshooter podcast. That lasted about 2 years. Never officially ever shut CWN down. It just was kind of in the backdrop, kind of having a rest, so to speak. Well, anyway, long story short, I decided after 11 years, what can we do to make the website better? What can we do to have things more relevant in Canada? And I talked to Sean about this. So on January the 18th, the 12th year anniversary of CWN, and I'm just going to quickly do this here, just so people have an idea. So this is what's going to happen on January the 18th, 2021. That'll be the official 12-year anniversary of CWN. And what that stands for is the Canadian Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, or Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. It's not an official Hall of Fame. It is my Hall of Fame. It is CWN's Hall of Fame. So I am taking this seriously, though. So CPWHOF, so that is basically the initials of it, but Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame is what it stands for. You can go to actually CPWHOF, and I'm just going to edit this here just quickly here. And if I can do this without having technical difficulties again, where are we? Hide this. Should have did this in the beginning. It wouldn't be so complicated right now. There. CPWHOF.ca is the official web address for the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. Like I said, it's not an official Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. So when you go to it, you'll see Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. Underneath it, you'll see presented by CWN. That's always the way it's going to be. So Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame presented by CWN. The official Hall of Fame in my book is the one that was done by Greg Oliver and Slam Wrestling. When they switched sites, they haven't had the ability, the time to be able to basically bring it back to life yet. As far as I know, they are. And to me, that is the official Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. But it doesn't mean that CWN couldn't have its own, and that's what I decided to do. I've been a lifelong wrestling fan since the age of, like I said, 3 years old. Sean's been a fan. We're both the same age, 3 weeks apart. 44 years old. Sean's been a fan since the Macho Man incident with him and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in Saturday Night's Main Event, and the bell coming off and knocking Steamboat in the throat that led to their match at WrestleMania 3. So, I mean, we're lifelong wrestling fans. We also invest in wrestling how we can. So, me with the website, so CWNonline.ca, as well as the podcast I do, some of the help that I've lent hands to throughout my life, as well as far as websites go, or helping somebody set up a podcast or graphics or whatever the case may be. It's just something I love. It's just a hobby of mine that's existed since, like I said, about 3 years old. Sean's the same way, not since he was 3, but the fact is he has Scumbags of Wrestling, has a group with about almost 500 people, has a very big knowledge as far as wrestling goes, probably a little bit better than mine, not saying that's accurate, but I'm just going to say probably a little bit better than mine. But yeah, Sean Bates of Scumbags of Wrestling, like I said, lifelong wrestling fan as well. We've been to numerous events, together. Big fans of the Canadian independent wrestling scene, Ontario independent wrestling, Smash Wrestling, Midwestern Wrestling, Barrie Wrestling, Destiny Wrestling, companies like that, just here in Ontario. So we talked about it, and it was like, hey, maybe the idea should exist. Maybe we should have our own Hall of Fame. And that's what we're going to try. So after 11 years, 12 years on January the 18th of 2021, it's going to mark 12 years for the website. But saying that, and the reason I'm bringing up that date is because on January 18th, 2021, we will do a special show on StreamYard, out to YouTube, as well as Twitch, Facebook, and we will announce the first edition membership, so to speak, of the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. We've got 8 categories lined up right now. 7 of them will be voted on. Dates, we'll maybe talk about that in the next show. Maybe I'll have Sean on as a guest just to be able to talk about that. We'll have to wait and see. But we'll have 7 categories for fans to vote on. The 8th category is going to be a special category. I'll get into that as well. But guys, Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame presented by CWN. So cpwhof.ca is the web address that you need to know. That right there will take you to the Facebook page that we've got set up right now. It will eventually take you to the actual website itself, where you'll get to see the categories, as well as the awards, so to speak, that we're going to hand out, as well as all the information that has to do with Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. So, guys, it is sentimental to me. It's my way of giving back as far as the website goes, the wrestling business goes. And as well, we'll see where it can go. Hopefully 20, 30 years it still exists, but like I said, Sean's on board with it. He's one of the original members of CWN. And back then it was known as the Canadian Wrestling Network, not just CWN. But the fact is, yeah, so we're on board. We're excited about it. So January 18th, 2021, you will see the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame come into existence live on StreamYard, live on YouTube, Facebook, as well as Twitch. So that is the big announcement right there. And like I said, more details to follow. And as far as voting and the categories and stuff like that. So, guys, it's been a long one. I didn't expect to go over an hour, but a lot of information, a lot of news to be talked about. Again, thoughts and prayers are with Animal of the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors. 60 years old, tough age to be, tough age to pass away at. Hawk was only, I think, 46, but they're reunited up there in heaven. Paul Ellering, some kind words, obviously, on social media. So yeah, guys, check that out. CWNonline.ca. A lot of the articles I've found as far as the Road Warriors tributes, everything else have been posted on CWNonline.ca. Check out the WWE Network. Find some old school footage of the Road Warriors, because they do have the WCW stuff as well. AWA stuff as well, so it's again sad to see a guy like Animal pass away at 60 years old, but the legacy that he left, and like I said, within that 10 years that they existed in the beginning, is unmatched, unparalleled, and I can't see another team ever dominating tag team wrestling the way that they did. So guys, check the WWE Network and YouTube as far as the Road Warriors go. But that is it. So you want to follow me on social media, hashtag, not hashtag, at symbol, at Chris Maloney CWN. That is Twitter as well as Instagram. So at Chris Maloney CWN. Guys, if you're watching this, thank you very much. If you watched the on Twitch, thank you. If you're watching the YouTube premiere, thank you. If you're watching on Facebook, thank you. If you listening on audio, that's on Anchor as well as Spotify. Still trying to get onto iHeart, SoundCloud, though we're on, Stitcher, we're on, Apple Podcasts, we're on. So if you're listening, thank you very much. Again, feedback at cwnonline.ca or Chris at cwnonline.ca. And let me know what you think of the show. Let me know what you think of the website. Let me know what I think might need to be added. But guys, it's great, and I'm loving doing this. And it's one of those things I can't see me ever not wanting to be a part of the wrestling business. So in my sort of way, I mean, not officially, but unofficially, so to speak. But that is enough. That's about almost an hour and 20 minutes of me just talking. So anyway, it's time to give my voice a rest. Like I said, check out CWN tonight, hopefully on the WB ThunderDome. Hopefully I make it on TV this week. But I've got to get off of this and set up a better connection and no backdrop and this and that, and see if I can last longer than 10 minutes in the ThunderDome. But guys, that is it. Thank you very much for watching and listening to CWN Online, so CWN Weekly, episode number 6. And again, thank you very much, guys. We'll see you again, and see you Sunday for the prediction show and the recap show. All right, take care.